Have you heard anything about the no-content book publishing as of late? It's been the latest big thing when it comes to self-publishing, but is it right for you? Well, if you're new to this particular business and you're a bit of a beginner, I'm going to share how to publish no content and otherwise known as zero content books in today's video, so make sure that you stay tuned. This is Self-Publishing with Dale, where you'll learn to publish books that sell and build an unstoppable brand. Big question here for you. What are your thoughts on no-content book publishing? Do you think it's just a passing fad or a trend, or do you believe it really is the business to invest your time, attention, and energy into? So just drop your thoughts over inside the comments. I definitely would love to hear from you. Also, if you stick around to the end, I will be sharing a downloadable template for no-content book publishing. So without any further ado, let's talk about what exactly is no-content book publishing. Essentially, I need you to take a lot of these preconceived notions that you have, or the belief that you have that publishing is strictly writing out and churning out chapter after chapter, book after book in this business. We are going to take that traditional writing model and we're going to put it on the shelf for just now and focus on what no-content books are. And no-content books are quite simply like this: nothing. No, it seems insane, and though it might seem too ridiculous to grasp, hear me out for just a second here. The thing is, people always need something to write in, something to track items, something that they're going to have to use and go to on a regular basis and fulfill time and again. Think about that for just a second, okay? That means journals, notebooks, diaries, planners. Oh my, we have so many options when it comes to no-content book publishing. But what exactly can self-publishers expect? I need to kind of balance things out between expectations versus reality, because much like other walks of self-publishing, there are definitely pros and cons to it, and there are far more people that fail at this business than succeed at it. And if you really try your hardest, I can't promise you that you're going to see any huge payouts. I know that you've seen my wife on this channel where she shared some of her ridiculous monthly payouts from that avenue alone. And I've been pretty much forward about what I think about no-content book publishing, and I've actually enjoyed some of the journey, and I believe it definitely is a great ancillary part to your self-publishing business. But exactly how do you publish no-content books? Well, let's go ahead and take this one step by step. Brainstorm ideas. All right, this seems kind of crazy. A lot of people will always go, well, let's go ahead and study the niche. Let's look at the keywords. Let's really niche research and such like that. Well, for this, really honestly, this is all you really need. And if you've got a few peers within this industry or even outside of this industry, sit down with them and talk with them about this particular concept. And chances are likely you're going to get some really awesome ideas. Nothing's off the table, just brain dump down. And I want you to just mind map it out and see exactly what you come up with. Study the marketplace. Now we're going to study the niches. Now we're going to study the keywords, because now we need to figure out, are some of these ideas worth pursuing? Are there people out there that want to fulfill them? So let's say, for instance, in my brainstorming session, I determined that one of my favorite things to do is gardening. And I have a bad habit of not keeping track of what is in which row and how long ago I put it there and what I need to be doing with that. So a gardening journal would be something perfect for me. Now, that's fairly basic, obviously, but it's just to kind of illustrate a point that what I want to do is take that brainstorming idea and go onto the Amazon marketplace and take a look around and see if there is a demand for something like that. When I'm doing my research, I'm going to see, first of all, are there other books like that? If there are other books, what's the rank like? Typically, I want to see a rank somewhere below 500,000 in the Amazon bookstore, preferably something that's even further below 100,000 in the bestseller ranking. And then I'll take a look at the book description. I'll take a look at the cover, and most importantly, I'll pay attention to the price point, because if there's a proven concept, that means that there's an audience coming in and consuming the content, buying the products. That means it might be worth pursuing. That's not to say that you can't take one of your ideas, throw it against the wall, and see if it sticks. But for the most part, if you're going to spend any amount of time on this starting out, you may want to set yourself up for victory by finding ideas and proven concepts right out the gate. Now that you have all of the research done on the ideas that are going to possibly work, we need to start to develop those concepts and really refine it and figure out who is your audience and exactly what do they need. What type of content do you need to put in there? Now, bear in mind, I know it's no content and zero content books. That's not to say, though, that you can't provide different things within one cover to the next that they would really want to part ways with their hard-earned money to get that product. So there's a lot of you out there that might be already publishing that might have, say, a completely blank journal. And then there's others that actually have just lines themselves. Well, this is a very competitive market right now. And if you're just doing what other people do within the confines of your blank manuscript, then you've really greatly diminished the likelihood that the audience is going to want to buy your product. Now comes the fun part. Format the interior and export to PDF. Okay, I kind of glossed over this just a little bit when it comes to actually making the content. Any numerous ways you can use could be, say, Microsoft Word, PowerPoint, Keynote, even Google Slides, one of my favorites as of late. Those are ways that you can create the interior and really get it to where there's a robust and fun interior that people are going to want to give you, throw money at you in order to get that no content book. But you need to make sure that you're exporting its PDF, especially if you're using the Kindle Direct Publishing print platform. But the real issue comes into play when we think about bleed versus no bleed. Now, if you're not familiar with bleed versus no bleed, first of all, most books that you're publishing on the market today, and especially those with content, come with the no bleed. That means that pretty much all of your content is put within the margins and nothing is being put near the cut of the actual book. Now, the cut meaning the trim size to where the printer is actually cut around the exterior of your book. Bleed comes into play where you have a bit more content that, say, spills off of the page and maybe even goes into the spine of the book. So that is a bleed type style. And that is one of the things that's going to get you an inside edge, because not too many people really think or have the patience to do this. So here's a little bit of a tip. Write this one down or even bookmark this. You're going to want to make sure that regardless of the size of your book, you're going to want to add about 0.125 inches to your width and 0.25 inches to your height. So as a, for instance, a 6x9 book, the interior is going to be 6.125 by 9.25. Don't get this one wrong, because if you continue to try to upload something through a bleed and you don't have it measured properly, it'll get rejected time and again. And the next thing that you're going to want to be aware of is don't put any words or important data on the edges of the paper. You need to keep it away from the bleed line, which is that additional amount being of the 0.125 by 0.25. Create the cover. The way I see it, you got three options. You can either utilize the KDP print cover creator or any platform that you're utilizing their cover creator to make something that's going to work for your no content book. The next one is do it yourself. Now, I've actually had quite a few tutorials here on this channel that I share how you can do it yourself and make your own covers. It's really going to be simple as possible if you can make it for yourself, because trying to make these really flashy covers is not going to necessarily equate to huge sales. Now, with that being said, let's say that you don't want to bother with the cover creator, you don't want to do it yourself, you're probably going to hire out a graphic designer, especially one that can do books. Now, this can be slightly expensive if you allow it to be, and much like any other walk of the book publishing industry, you're taking a risk when you're ponying up the expenses up front for something like a cover design. Sure, maybe you did the interior, or you hired out someone to do the interior, and then you hire out someone to do the cover. Well, you're starting to put a lot of financial investment that you otherwise wouldn't need to do. So I would just stress that if you do use a cover designer, tell them and communicate with them simple as possible, and look for the cheaper packages. If you are going to invest anything, I would just recommend a cover that does not break the bank and anything you can afford to lose, because nothing is a sure shot. Anybody that might tell you that within the self-publishing industry, that this is a sure shot, you're going to have a bestseller, you're going to be making $1,000 per month, well, they're full of shit. And the last part, of course, is going to be uploading everything. You've got a variety of platforms to choose from, including KDP Print, Lulu.com, Barnes & Noble Press, and Ingram Spark, among many others. Definitely try out each one of those platforms, but be very aware that for distributors like Ingram Spark, there is a cost for upload. So you gotta, once again, think about, can I stand to lose this? So in any event, this is a lot of great information, but there actually is another video I want you to take a look at. It's some of the hot niches that actually I've shared over in this channel before. And so if you're going to break ground in the no content book publishing arena, make sure you go over there, and I'll see you then. It carries consistent sales. So quite a bit of this is going to be based on our experience. Really, all 5 of them that we chose today were appropriate today.